I do know I have some Irish ancestry, but apparently the Irish didn't keep great records because, well, draw your own conclusion. Some tells me they weren't busy sunbathing. I'm Irish, but I have blonde hair. Supposedly the only reason the Irish have blonde or red hair is because the Vikings invaded, pillaged, and probably other stuff. Those Vikings, the Scandinavians, I don't know if you've been to Sweden, it's like a whole country of Scarlett Johanssons. If I was in Ireland at that time, I would have been, oh no, some Viking lady's coming to pillage me. I guess I'll hide on this bed covered in rose petals. Hopefully she can help me put together that table. They say last names can tell you something. Like if your last name is Cooper, that means you probably had an ancestor who made barrels. If your last name is Cantor, that means somebody along the line was a singer. My last name is Gaffigan, which is Gaelic for highly anxious. And when I learned that, all I could feel was highly anxious. I mean, how anxious do you have to be for people to go, you should go with that as your name? Was that? That's what we call you anyway. It does seem like some last names were chosen to impress, right? You know, someone's like, you know what? I want the ladies to know I'm successful, so I'm gonna go with a last name Goldman. Goldman. What are you going with? Wiener. I want the ladies to know I like hot dogs. But who knows? Maybe last names mean nothing. You know, where I'm from in Indiana, there is a guy who owns an RV dealership, and his name is Tom Raper. That's his name. And there are billboards, come see Tom Raper. And people go. Well, we should check it out. Now, I don't know why we would let someone named Raper sell RVs. They are essentially mobile crime scenes. If my last name were Raper, I wouldn't leave the house. How do you even go out to dinner? Party of two, Raper. Is there a Raper here? Are there family reunions? Are you a Raper? I'm a Raper. Is this your son? He looks just like a Raper. So fun getting all the Rapers together. In Milwaukee, I stayed in a hotel named The Fister. That was the name, The Fister. And obviously they were sensitive to it sounding weird, so they added a P at the front, so it was the Puffister. Hey, it worked for Michelle Pfeiffer. And that hotel was started by a man named Guido Fister. I thought, my name's Guido Fister, why don't I go into hospitality? Guido Fister, his name sounds like an ethnic slur. Get out of here, you Guido Fister! Go fish somewhere else!
I'm proud of being from this town. I love this town. I miss it a lot. It's where my family is from. My family's still here. It's great to come home, see my parents. They're getting older, which is weird. That's a hard thing to see your parents get older. Like honest older. You know when your parents just say shit that when you were a kid, you're like, oh, you never used to say shit like that when I was a kid. Like my mom was like, well, I'm gonna leave the house. What are you gonna do for the weekend? And my dad was watching TV and he turns and he goes, eat steak, watch porn. I applaud the honesty out of that guy. Really sharp, I appreciate that. Tell her the truth, man. They're getting older, you know what I mean? They get older, but I love that about these people. They're fantastic, they raised me. I mean, did they raise me correctly? I don't know. Maybe not. I grew up here in downtown Chicago for half of my life in Chicago, and the second half we moved to the western suburbs, right? We moved to the suburbs because my sister was born, and my parents were like, I'm not gonna fuck up two of them. We can't do that. One's good, we'll fuck up one, that's okay. But we moved to the western suburbs, you know, and to try to better the life of all of us. But like, I still realize sometimes how like my mom used to fuck with us subtly. Like my mom is crazy, she's a crazy person in the best way. But she would like lay it in real slow. Like my parents were somewhat religious, right? You know, I mean, Irish Catholic, kinda, you know what I mean? Like you, like somewhat in, you know what I mean? You're like, in the hot tub maybe. But she used to do this thing, she used to make me say every single night before I went to bed. Now I lay me down to sleep. Do you know that? Does anybody know that? I used to have to say this. Like, I used to have to repeat this. I'd say, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I would say that before bed, which is a really fucked up thing for a child to say out loud. If I die before I wake up, I'm 6. I'm gonna die in the middle of the night. And God's gonna leave my body, take my soul, but be like, body's good, leave the body, it's fine, leave it. What's going on? Crazy person. I love her, she's the best in the world. I had Irish Catholic guilt. I had so much Irish Catholic guilt when I was a kid, I used to flip a coin to determine whether or not I was gonna masturbate that day. Huh? You think I'm kidding? I would take a quarter, I would go heads, yes, tails, no. I'd flip it, I get tails, and I go, best 2 out of 3. We gotta go again. Let's see what happens. He didn't beat me, never won. That's how heavy my guilt was. Seriously, that's how like in my head I was about that God is watching you type of stuff. Like my mother used to let us not lock the doors. She was against that. She's like, you don't lock the doors inside of the house. If you're locking the doors inside of the house, it means you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, that's why we lock the doors. Don't come in here. I'm pulling on my body. Get out of here. Leave me alone, lady. That's how I realized the guy that invented locks inside of a house must have been caught masturbating by his wife one too many times. Was sick of it. He was sick of it. He's like, you know what? That's it. I'm gonna put locks inside the house. She's like, Michael, what are you doing? We have locks on the outside of the house to keep criminals from coming inside. There's no criminals inside of this house. Yes, there are, Karen. And they're robbing me of my freedom. Let me pull on my body in peace.
I think we're begrudgers. That's what it is. We don't like seeing some people do well. American people, very enthusiastic when people are doing well. Irish people, not so much. There could be an article on the newspaper, and an American person and an Irish person could read the exact same article and have 2 completely contrasting reactions to that same article. There could be an article on a newspaper or the internet that's like, there was a guy who had no arms and no legs, and now he's on the 2020 American powerlifting Olympic team. And an American person would read that article and be like, oh my God, that is so inspirational. Oh my God, I just want to get up an hour earlier every day just to try a little bit harder because that guy just fills me with so much inspiration. Oh my God, in Jesus' name, wow. Whereas an Irish person would read that same article and be like, what a show-off cunt. Look at him, lad, ruining disabled for everyone else. Get back in your chair! Miserable fuckers. Whenever someone gets a new car, well, where? I hope you hit a pothole and fucking kill yourself. Like whenever Irish people see somebody driving a big car, if we see someone in a sports car or a Hummer, Jesus fucking Christ. If Irish people see somebody in a Hummer, we see a Hummer, we lose our fucking minds. Because we all go, Traveller Debs. But if it's not, Jesus Christ, we all do the same thing, don't we? Look at your man there with his big sports car. Look at your man there with his big Jeep, his big Hummer. Lad. Look at him there, lad. Look at him there. Do you know what now? I'd say he's got a tiny little willy. I'd say he's got a tiny little willy. And I say he bought this big massive kit because he's so sad about his tiny little willy. Look at him there, lad. Look at him there. Ha ha, that's your tiny willy. That doesn't work the other way around though, does it? If you saw someone in a Ford car, you wouldn't be going, fuck, imagine the size of his cock. You wouldn't get that into a fucking Ford car, that's the problem.
Are you St. Patrick's Day Irish? You know about your culture? Because that's people think I'm Irish, drinking and river dance. There's more to Irish culture than drinking and river dance. There's fighting. The Irish are crazy people. I come from a long line of Irish lunatics. People complain today about violence in rap music, hip-hop lyrics, too much violent imagery. Have you people ever heard an Irish folk song? They begin the same. It's the green rolling hills of Ireland, the sheep running across the meadow. Ah, there's me cousin Mike. I haven't seen in 15 years. Every chorus. Oh, the blood poured red when we hit him in the head and we kicked him in the neck till he died. They don't care. Every song. That was enough to prove we were tough. Them mum baked us a pie. Oh, they don't. They start them young. Hand me a hammer, Charlie. There's gonna be a fight. Then you hit him with a hammer, Sean. That's when they knew what a folk song was about. Come on. What if God was one of us? Shut up! Hand me a hammer, Charlie. My grandfather was Irish. Came here from Ireland. He comes over, gets off the boat, went to work at a Pennsylvania coal mine. He was a little kid. I mean, like a 7-year-old coal miner. He's like, hey, this job sucks, hey. He's a baby coal miner. Went through life in the coal mines of Pennsylvania. By the time he's 75 years old, now I'm 5. I'm the little kid. He's still the toughest guy in the room. It's winter. Our car gets stuck in the snow. He's the first guy. I'll go lay behind the back tires. Give it more gas. He's tough. You have that guy in your family. Come on. Every Thanksgiving, Uncle Frank, hey, punch me in the neck as hard as you can. Frank, the kids are at the table. The food's ready. Come, look, I'm carrying the refrigerator. Great, Frank, who cares? Come on. It's Thanksgiving. That's right. These are tough guys. Absolutely. Got guys in the military in my family? Do we have military representatives this evening? Oh, they always... Oh, there's a bark or a seal thing. Oh, they're just, that's good. Nobody says, I'm in the military. No one. It just doesn't happen. Oh, what's that barking? You're Marines, right? No. I think we stopped doing that thing too early in life, and that's useful. Come on, we stopped that in 4th grade. I say bring it back for adults. Ladies, you're at the bank or something. You get somebody with an attitude. Miss, hey, the bank line starts back there. That's all you need. No big argument, no calling the manager. 1 second, you're done. Guys, you get stopped by a cop, he walks up, you know how fast you were going? So I'll guess again. Army. Not one went, he's right, we are. I know what you're talking about, young men and women of the Army. Look, hey, my great-great-grandfather fought in the Civil War. My grandfather fought in World War I. My other grandfather and an uncle fought in World War II. My uncle and my cousin fought in Vietnam. Check this out. I almost got cast in Platoon. So I know what it's like. Because you go. You serve your country. Because it's America. I didn't know if they'd have snacks. But you go. But I didn't know.
I'm not from here originally. I actually grew up in the north of Ireland, but I've lived in America so long where now I have this dumb friggin' accent. My accent now, it's just thick enough to be annoying, but not enough to be charming, This is the verbal equivalent of someone who's got one leg that's slightly shorter than the other. It's not weird enough where you're gonna say anything, but you definitely want your suspicions confirmed. My friends always say that I look and sound like if the movie Taken was set in a library. I have a very particular set of skills. Return the book and that'll be an end to it. I've been here 25 years, still not a citizen. I'm still a green card holder, what they call a permanent resident. And I love the phrase permanent resident because that sounds like a sarcastic name your father would give you when you still haven't moved out of the house. Oh, look who's awake, the permanent resident. Hits you over the head with a rolled up job application. People hear my voice, they want to know my backstory. And I hate telling my backstory because it's both convoluted and boring somehow. I was actually born in Australia, raised in the north of Ireland, the rest of the time split between England and America. So my whole thing is just the cliff notes of British colonialism. Like, all of that traveling, and I'm still just white squared. I'm the kind of white where you pronounce the H, I'm white. Now people ask where I'm from, I just say I'm from Caucasia, but not even like Eastern Caucasia, downtown Central Caucasia, right on the corner of goodness and gracious, just like fucking white guy. I did grow up in the north of Ireland, Northern Ireland, in the 70s, 80s, and some people are here might be too young to realize why that might not be ideal. Nothing will make you feel more ancient than having your childhood trauma be from a forgotten conflict. Like, I have to put on an A&E documentary to explain why I twitch whenever a car backfires. Again, to the younger people, if you don't know, Northern Ireland, 70s, 80s, I was Irish Catholic, but there was something called the Irish Republican Army, and they would get up to a bunch of goofy tricks and hijinks and pranks, and the British Army would come over like, knock it off, you silly bitches, and then that would just lead to more pranks. These were mainly bomb-based pranks. This was back when an Irish car bomb was more than a fucking drink. But not everybody knows that. People are like, oh, Adam, you grew up in Ireland. How wonderful. I'm like, no, Northern Ireland, 70s, 80s. That's like saying to a kid from the Gaza Strip, oh, you're from the Holy Land. How delightful. Nope. And I was actually born in Australia. And then my parents moved us back to Northern Ireland in the mid-70s. And I always wish I could visit the exact moment they made that genius decision. Because I always picture me as an infant, and I'm just toddling along that sun-kissed Antipodean shore. In the distance, a dolphin is dancing in the cerulean foam. Over here, a koala bear is playing Waltzing Matilda on a didgeridoo, while an ancient Aboriginal man, his skin the color of burnt jarrah wood, is telling me tales of the dream time. Then my father turned to my mother like, Jesus, this is no place to raise a child. Let's move to Northern Ireland where the bombs are. I think I figured it out. I think my dad must have seen an Australian teenager and they're all bronzed and confident. And he was like, that looks like too much work. I'll take mine pasty and nervous. Mission accomplished. It's crazy growing up in Northern Ireland as kids. We had no idea we were living in an occupied sectarian war zone because my parents were really good at distracting us, you know? I would ask my mom, like, hey, Ma, how come so many of our friends have ski masks when there isn't a single mountain or bunny slope anywhere? And she'd be like, well, I'll answer that as soon as you finish playing with this Jabba the Hutt toy we bought you. Yay! My dad was even better. He wouldn't even acknowledge the existence of Protestants. Like, we would walk to church on Sunday, we would pass a Protestant church, it was closer to our house, I was lazy. I'd be like, can we just go there? Let's just go to that one. My dad would be like, wow, that church isn't up to code. They've got a faulty altar, the font is full of spider eggs, it's home. And then one time my younger brother's like, yeah, but Dad, what's a Protestant? My dad was like, good question, I'll answer that as soon as you finish playing with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon. We're like, Han Solo, he's our favorite rebel commando. And our next door neighbor's like, what about me? I'm an actual rebel commando. That's like, we're moving to London, let's get to Yeah, but I've been here in America for a while, you know, and I have noticed a change in the migrant experience over the last 2.5 decades. It used to be immigrants came to this country, we used to want to assimilate and become American. Now nobody wants to be American because you guys fucking hate each other. You guys are about to kill each other over library books and drag queens, and we're all like, oh, no speak of the English. Like 50% of white Americans want to be neither white nor American because of the guilt. That's why they're all on Ancestry.com trying to find that one sliver of melanin that'll let them off the hook. They're all grilling their grandparents like, hey, Gam, didn't you go to Kenya in the 50s?
I know I'm very mean to Jimmy Hurley, folks. When I met him 40 years ago, he's a lean, mean, hot Irish machine, all right? What I live with today, 40 years later, cruelest of cruel bait and switch. Worst of all being his award-winning, trophy-taking Heineken Tuma, ladies and gentlemen. You love this guy? Huh? We all know this guy, all right? I'm a woman of somewhat slight stature. No longer can I take the bottom position. As I surely will die. A tragic, suffocating death. So here's what has to happen. Now, bear with me. Bear with me. 1 o'clock in the morning, my own house. You gotta rev it up in the hallway. Now you get a good sprint. You gotta get a good sprint into the big room. All right, get in the big room, you gotta vault yourself. On top of the Posturepedic. Up and over Jimmy's lifeless body, okay? Right? Like an Olympian, okay? Up and over. Up and over. Like I said, here's Jimmy, okay? My poor front row, please don't worry. Nothing's gonna fly out. No, I got that transvaginal mesh. Thank you, Morgan and Morgan. Now you gotta balance. And you gotta use every bit of energy in your poor, exhausted body. To push, you gotta push that shit back. Now you gotta keep your wits about you. You gotta remember to take your other elbow and hold her down. You gotta hold her down. As I have on occasion been rubber banded right out my window. But good news, folks, good news. Last week I found the clicker.
What's up? One more time for Derek Keane. You guys can see the leprechaun playing the fiddle, right? Yeah. One more time for David Liebert. Let him know. Yeah, what's up, Connecticut? To infinity and beyond. Yeah. My name is Michael McCarthy from Boston, Massachusetts. I am micked out to the max, 100% Irish, Lucky Charm loving, corned beef and cabbage eating, beer I'm so Irish, I can't eat English muffins. They taste like oppression. I'd rather choke on French toast, thank you very much. It is good to be here. You like the kilt? Ma'am, I wear this as a tribute to my culture, not to be eye-raped by somebody in the front row. Eyes up here, please, please. It's good to be back in Infinity Hall, man. It's good to be anywhere besides where we worked last week. Last week, we took the Irish comedy tour to Tunica, Mississippi. I did not wear the kilt. Tunica, Mississippi, because when you think Irish comedy, you think Mississippi, don't you? And listen, I don't want to say that everybody in Mississippi is dumb. But look at it on a map. It's surrounded by Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Tennessee. State's marinating in stupidity, folks. Have you ever been down south? There are parts of Mississippi that are so backwards ass that when you're driving through, if you listen closely enough, you can actually hear the old Dukes of Hazzard narrative voice start doing your life. Remember old Waylon Jennings? I'm driving through right here. Well, it was just about that time. That the bald-headed hippie Yankee faggot comic from Boston pulled into town. He didn't know it yet, but he sure was in for a heap of trouble.
Ireland, I love. Ireland. I go to Kilkenny, Ireland, 20 years in a row. And you know, people go, like the press always asks me, do they get you in Ireland? No, that's why I go back every year, because they don't get me. And it's so nice to finally hear my act without any applause or laughs, just an angry Irish murmuring. For fuck's sake. And it's, you can't, you know, you think you can drink as Americans, it's a different league. I'm telling you, it's a different fucking league. It's never enough. My friend Barry Murphy, I see him once a year. Have one more, lad. Dom, come on. I don't want one more, Barry. I'm drunk. I'm fucking happy. One more, for fuck's sake. I see you once a year. I don't want one more. Then he tries to trick me. He goes, all right, how about a nightcap? Oh, a nightcap's completely different than one more. It's only a little drink with a cap on it, for the love of God. Of course I'll have that. I love these ice cold beer commercials. Like, who can't make beer cold? What the fuck is it? Hey, Charlie, when I go to this new bar, why, what's up with it? They got ice cold beer. I'm not bullshitting. Ice cold beer? How do they do it? Charlie, these guys have trade secrets. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking maybe they refrigerate it, maybe they put it on ice. Yeah, but how do you know if it's really cold? Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because there's a mountain cap on it that's silver, and then the bluer it gets, the colder it gets. It's completely blue, then you know it's cold. Or you could touch it. By touching it, you go, ooh, that's cold. Brr, brr. Ireland is the only place I've ever been called a pussy for going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. Where are you going, Domberare, you little guinea pussy, 5 o'clock? The sun's out and completely up, you little half a fag, Nancy boy, with your red wine for your pussy heart. I put a clamp on my aorta before I go out drinking. Slows the blood flow, gives me a better buzz. The Irish don't drink because they're alcoholics. They drink because the food is so bad. They need some nourishment from the Guinness. It's the worst diet in the world. But you like more fat with your fatty, fat soul. What about a side of fat with that main course taballard and a greasy gristle deep-fried lamb suppository to splotch your dirty, filthy, evil cakes down on while you're waiting for more potatoes? They have potatoes with everything. That's a beautiful hat you're buying. Would you like a potato with that hat? What a wonderful gown, lass. You know what go nice with that? A potato. I was in an Italian restaurant in Kilkenny, Ireland. True story. Can I get the clam spaghetti? Would you like a potato with that? That's a good idea. I don't think the starch is enough. Yeah. Why don't you give me an insulin injection to the forehead? Would you like some potato juice in the injection? The women are beautiful, but there's no average-looking Irish women. They're either radiantly beautiful with those steel blue eyes and that jet black hair, or they are sea skanks. They look like their jaw and their forehead are going to merge together. I'll cut you with my chin, you evil Dago bastard. That's not a mole on my razor-sharp bony chin, eh? It's a potato with a sour cream discharge and chives. Lick it if you love me, you little Nancy boy potato head. It's a great accent. Even the hookers don't sound piggy, because the accent's so beautiful, so lilting, so mellifluous. Excuse me, would you like a nice mouth-watering blowjob? Would you like to be kissing my potato, my big stinky spud of love?
Catholics out here, Catholics? Oh, thanks for making the trip. God bless you. Good for you. I don't know what it means either. I'm not gonna lie to you, I slept through church. I was a terrible kid. I did all the church stuff you're supposed to do. I studied the 10 Commandments. Read all about Genesis, great band. Sad thing, all I can tell you about church is that when communion comes out, that's like the 2-minute warning. You know it's true. Here come the crackers. We're almost out of here. What would Jesus do? Not miss kickoff, Padres. Step on it. Come from a small Irish Catholic household. We only had 3 kids in my family, which is small for my people. Yeah, even Dad's sperm were drunk and lazy. Thanks for laughing. I don't have any kids. If you have them, good for you. I don't have that parental gene, therefore I decide to not reproduce. When that show was on, I couldn't even watch it. Remember that train wreck, that John and Kate plus 8 thing? That was, remember, I watched 1 episode for 5 minutes, gave myself a vasectomy. I got a friend of mine, she loved the show. I asked her one day, I go, why do you watch this? She goes, people are impressed watching a man and woman raise 8 kids. Really? You know who's not impressed? Mexicans. This new information for you people?
A lot of people mistake me for being Irish. That happens a lot here, which is fine, right? But people in Canada are very proud of their Irish heritage. But the way people celebrate Irish culture in this country is very weird. Very weird. Let me give you an example. There's a drink that you can buy in any bar in Canada. These guys know, right? It's called an Irish car bomb. Right? It's yeah. That's a shot, right? It's a shot of Baileys, a shot of Jameson, poured into Guinness. Apparently, you knock it back, and then apparently, you know, it's called a car bomb because you drink it back and kaboom, right? I guess that's the whole point, right? But if you were from Ireland and you're actually Irish, you'd be a little bit upset about it because car bombs were used to commit acts of terrorism. A lot of Irish people died. Very upsetting, you know? Meanwhile, over here in Canada, no one gives a flying fuck, right? Every St. Patrick's Day, you're dressed like the fucking leprechaun from the Lucky Charms box, right? Lying in a puddle of your own piss, knocking back car bomb after car bomb after car bomb. Tell anyone who will listen about how Irish you are, right? It's offensive, right? Because if you were truly Irish, you would hate that drink. Or, like, try going to Dublin and ordering an Irish car bomb. See how fucking far you get, right? Because that would be like me walking into any bar in America and ordering a drink called the New York Plane Explosion. What would that drink be? 2 shots. Or 2 towers, should I say, right? You drink the first shot, you go, that was horrible. I hope I never experience something so awful ever again in my life. 26 minutes later, bartender hands you the second tower. Which you weren't expecting. The first one done more than enough damage. But you drink it down, you're like, oh, it tastes like jet fuel. Last thing you remember is someone going, run, he's gonna collapse. What are they gonna do? You know? Fucking crazy, right? What are they gonna do next? Just make shots named after every horrific world event? What are they gonna have next? The Holocaust shot? I know, right? What would that shot be? You drink the shot, you wake up passed out in the shower. Right? You go to the bar the next day, bartender denies it even happened. I know. A lot of you guys were like, we were with you up until then, John, but like, I know. But here's the thing, guys, those drinks don't exist. I made it up. Relax. But you know what drink does exist? Is an Irish car bomb, so shame on all of you. Fuck off, right?
Because you come over here sometimes and you go to like Albuquerque or Alabama or one of those other intellectual hotspots that you'll hear them. They'll be like, I don't know if we're ready for like a female president yet. I'll be like, In Ireland, we had 21 years of female presence. We were the first country in the world to have back-to-back female presence. We moved on to half-Indian gay people. We are woke as fuck. And I can't even say that word over here in America. Like, just say, they lock eyes with you, you know, and they're like, oh my gosh, did you just drop an F-bomb? Like, your people blew up Japan. We're woke as feck over there. And that is a lovely, clean word. It's spelled with an E. We use it lovingly and liberally in Ireland. We're emotionally attached to it. But it's funny, I use it to describe sometimes just America, when you come here as an immigrant, sometimes it seems divisive, unnecessarily so. Like sometimes you guys just split things that don't need to be split. Example, day drinking, night drinking. That's just drinking. No wonder you're no good at it. But it's important to be woke in this day and age. I love all that stuff. It sounds a bit weird, but it's important, isn't it? And I was looking it up, and it turns out Ireland, we're already as woke as you could really be. We were the first country in the whole world by popular vote to legalize gay marriage. That's kind of cool when you think about it, isn't it? They're like one of the most backwards, homophobic, steeped in Catholicism country. Just put it to the people and collectively asked them, gay marriage, should we make it legal? And we went, yeah, why not? Come on.
Has anyone ever been ghosted? I've been ghosted, also known as Irish goodbye. Thank you. I was actually Irish goodbye by an actual Irishman. Yes, Queen. He was handsome, he was charming, and it's so great that he can drink 5 to 7 whiskeys a night and not be an alcoholic. Just Irish. So European. And just for the sake of anonymity, and because he wore blazers with large shoulder pads, we'll call him Paula Poundstone. So Paula Poundstone would say the sweetest things, the most romantic. He'd be like, "You're the love of my life." I don't do accents. He'd be like, "You're the love of my life. You're my soulmate." This isn't even helping. Is this a pizza? He's Italian now. He's like, "If we ever have a problem, we need to get on the phone immediately and fix it. Because this is a very special to me." This is a very special to me. And I love you. I love you. So romantic. So imagine my surprise when he completely vanished. Okay, he was just gone one day. I called, I texted, I emailed. I would have gone to his house, but he lived behind a large gate. I reached out to his friend Carl, and I said, "Carl, please, just let me know he's okay." Carl seemed very casual. He was like, "I never really worry about it till it's been a week." Listen, casual Carl. Maybe Paula Poundstone has done this with other guys he doesn't care about, or like girls he didn't care about, but we are in love. We are soulmates. Please make sure he's okay behind that gate. So a week goes by. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I am grieving the loss of a person. You know, possibly dead, at least the death of a relationship. When all of a sudden, I post some innocuous photo on Facebook, and he just likes it. that's when I was like, oh my gosh, he's not dead at all. He's only dead to me. It was like a classic romantic comedy where the man and the woman want to be together, but they can't because the man has to go off and fight a war, right? Except in this scenario, there was no war. There was just a man drinking Jameson in Silver Lake and ignoring me. But I don't know how to act that out with a stool. It was like a classic romantic comedy where the man and woman want to be together. He almost loses her, right? So he runs through the streets and he knocks over hot dog stands to catch her, and he's like, catches her just in time. Except in this scenario, the man was doing absolutely nothing whatsoever to save the relationship. And he was dressed like Paula Poundstone.